James Joyce, Ulysses. 3. Proteus. Ineluctable modality of the visible, at least that if no more thought through my eyes. Signatures of all things I am here to read, sea spawn and sea wreck, the nearing tide, that rusty boot. Snot green, blue silver, rust-colored signs, limits of the diaphany. But he adds, in bodies, then he was aware of them, bodies before of them colored. How? By knocking his sconce against them, sure. Go easy. Bald he was, with a millionaire maestro di color cesano. Limit of the diaphane in. Why in? Diaphane, adiophane. If you can put your 5 fingers through it, it is a gate. If not, a door. Shut your eyes and see. Stephen closed his eyes to hear his boots crush crackling wrack and shells. You are walking through it, howsoever. I am astride at a time. You are walking through it, howsomever. I am astride at a time, a very short space of time, through very short times of space. 5, 6. The Nicanor. Exactly, and that is the ineluctable modality of the audible. Open your eyes. No. No, Jesus. If I fell over a cliff that beetles o'er his base, fell through the knee bent neander, eluctably. I am getting on nicely in the dark. My ash sword hangs at my side. Tap with it, they do. My 2 feet, in his boots, are at the ends of his legs. Neben neander. Sound solid. Made by the mallet of Los Demiurgos. Am I walking into eternity along Sandymount Strand? Crush, crack, crick, crick. Wild sea money. Domini, Deasy, Kens, Thema. Won't you come to Sandymount, Madeleine the mare? Rhythm begins, you see. I hear a catalectic tetrameter of iambs marching. No, a gallop, the line the mare. Open your eyes now. I will. One moment. Has all vanished since? If I open, and am forever in the black adiophane, basta! I will see if I can see. See now. There all the time without you, and ever shall be, world without end. They came down the steps from Leahy's terrace prudently, Frauenzimmer, and down the shelving shore flabbily, their splayed feet sinking in the silted sand, like me, like algae, coming down to our mighty mother. Number 1 swung luridly her midwife's bag, the others gamp-poked in the beach. From the Liberties, one for the day, Mrs. Florence McCabe, relict of the late Patak McCabe, deeply lamented, of Bride Street. One of her sisterhood lugged me squealing into life, creation from nothing. What has she in the bag? A misbirth with a trailing navel cord, hushed in ruddy wool? The cords of all link back strand and winding cable of all flesh. That is why mystic monks, will you be as gods? Gaze in your omphalos. Hello, Kinch here. Put me on to Edenville. Aleph, Alpha, not 1. Spouse and helpmate of Adam Cadmon. Heva, naked Eve. She had no navel. Gaze, belly without blemish. Bulging big, a buckler of taut vellum. No, white-heaped corn, orient and immortal, standing from everlasting to everlasting, womb of skin. Wombed in sin darkness, I was too, made not begotten. By them the man with my voice and my eyes, and the ghost woman with ashes on her breath. They clasped and sundered, did the coupler's will. From before the ages, he willed me, and now may not will me away or ever. A lex eterna stays about him. Is that then the divine substance wherein Father and Son are consubstantial? Where is poor dear Arius to try conclusions? Warring his life long upon the constra magnificently jubententiality. Ill-starred Harry Shark. In a Greek water closet, he breathed his last, euthanasia, with beaded mitre and with crozier stalled upon his throne. Widower of a widowed sea, with up-stifled almophorion, with clotted hinderparts. Airs romped round him, nipping and eager airs. They are coming, waves. The white-manced seahorses, champing, bright wind-bridled, the steeds of Manahanan. The steeds of Mananan. I mustn't forget his letter for the press. And after? The ship, 12:30. By the way, go easy with that money like a good young imbecile. Yes, I must. His pace slackened. Here. Am I going to Aunt Sarah's or not? My consubstantial father's voice. Did you see anything of your artist brother Stephen lately? No? Sure he's not down in Strasbourg Terrace with his Aunt Sally? Couldn't he fly a bit higher than that, hey? And tell us, Stephen, how is Uncle Si? Oh, weeping God, the things I married into. The boys up in the hayloft. The drunken little costrawer and his brother, the cornet player. Highly respectable gondoliers. And skewered. Walter stirring his father, no less. Sir? Yes, sir. No, sir. Jesus wept, and no wonder, by Christ. I pull the wheezy bell of their shuttered cottage and wait. They take me for a dun, peer out from a coign of vantage. It's Stephen, sir. Let him in. Let Stephen in. A bolt drawn back, and Walter welcomes me. We thought you were someone else. In his broad bed, Nuncle Richie, pillowed and blanketed, extends over the hillock of his knees a sturdy forearm. Clean-chested, he was washed, the upper moiety. Morrow, nephew? Sit down and take a walk. He lays aside the lapboard wherein he drafts his bills of costs for the eyes of Master Goff, the Master Chaplain, Tandy, filling consents and common searches, and a writ of educes tecum. A bogoac frame over his bald head. Wild's requiescat. The drone of his misleading whistle brings Walter back. Yes, sir? Malt for Richie and Stephen. Tell mother. Where is she? Bathing, Chrissy, sir. Papa's little bed pal. Lump of love. No, Uncle Richie. Call me Richie, damn your Lydia water. It lowers. Wusky. Uncle Richie, really. Sit down, or by the law, Harry, I'll knock you down. Walter squints vainly for a chair. He has nothing to sit down on, sir. He has nowhere to put it, you me. He has nowhere to put it, you mug. Bring in our Chippendale chair. Would you like a bite of something? None of your damned la-dee-da airs here. The rich or a rasher fried with herring? Sure. Sure. So much the better. We have nothing in the house but cache pills. Alerta. He drones bars of Ferrando's Aria di Sortita, the grandest number, Stephen, in the whole opera. Listen. His tuneful whistle sounds again, finely shaded with rushes of the air, his fist, big drumming on his padded knees. This wind is sweeter. Houses of decay mine, his and all. You told the Clongows gentry you had an uncle, a judge, and an uncle a general in the army. Come out of them, Stephen. Beauty is not there, nor in the stagnant bay of Marsh's library, where you read the fading prophecies of Joachim Abbas. For whom? The 100-headed rabble of the cathedral close? A hatter of his kind ran from them to the wood of madness, his mane foaming in the moon, his eyeballs stars. Hoy hyenum, horse and nostril, the oval equine faces, Temple Buck Mulligan, Foxy Campbell, Lantern Jaws, Abus Father, Furious Dean, what offence laid fire to their brains? Paf! Descende calvi ut ne emplius de calvaris. A garland of grey hair on his comminated head. See him, me, clambering down to the footpace. Descende, clutching a monstrance basilicade. Get down, bold pole. A choir gives back menace and echo, assisting about the altar's horns, the snorted Latin of jack-priests, moving burly in their albs, tonsured and oiled and gelded, fat with the fat of kidneys of wheat. And at the same instant, perhaps a priest round the corner is elevating it. Dring, dring. And 2 streets off another locking it into a pyx. Dring-a-dring. And in the lady chapel, another taking housel all to his own cheek. Dring, dring. Down, up, forward, back. Dan O'Cam thought of that invincible doctor. A misty English morning, the imp apostasis tickled his brain. Bringing his host down and kneeling, he heard twine with his second bell, the first bell in the transept. He is lifting his, and rising. Heard, now I am lifting. There 2 bells, he is kneeling. Twang, in diphthong. Cousin Stephen, you will never be a saint. Isle of Saints, you were awfully holy, weren't you? You prayed to the Blessed Virgin that you might not have a red nose. You prayed to the devil in Serpentine Avenue that the fubsy widow in front might lift her clothes still more from the wet street. Oh, si certo. Sell your soul for that. Do. Dyed rags pinned round a squaw. More, tell me, more still. On the top of the Howth tram, alone, crying to the rain. Naked women! Naked women! What about that, eh? What about what? What else were they invented for? Reading 2 pages apiece of 7 books every night, eh? I was young. You bowed to yourself in the mirror, stepping forward to applause, earnestly striking face. Hooray for the goddamned idiot, hooray. No one saw. Tell no one. Books you were going to write with letters for titles. Have you read this, F? Oh, yes, but I prefer Q. Yes, but W is wonderful. Oh, yes, W. Remember your epiphanies, written on green oval leaves, deeply deep copies to be sent if you died to all the great libraries of the world, including Alexandria? Someone was to read them there after a few thousand years, eh? Man, huh? Men Ventara. Pico della Mirandola like. Aye, very like a whale. When one reads these strange pages of one long gone, one feels that one is at one with one who once the grainy sand had gone from under his feet. His boots trod again a damp, crackling mast, razor shells, squeaking pebbles, that on the unnumbered pebbles, beats, wood sieved by the shipworm, lost armada, unwholesome sandflats, waited to suck his treading soles, breathing upward sewage breath. A pocket of seaweed smouldered in sea fire under a middern of man's ashes. He ghosted them, walking warily. A porter bottle stood up, stowed to its waist in the cakey sand dough. A sentinel, island of dreadful thirst, broken hoops on the shore, at the land a maze of dark cunning nets. Farther away, chalk scrawled, back doors, and on the higher beach, a drying line with 2 crucified shirts, ringsend, wigwams of brown steersmen and master mariners. Human shells. He halted. I have passed the way to Aunt Sarah's. Am I not going there? Seems not. No one about. He turned northeast and crossed the firmer sand towards the pigeon house. Que vous et mesdames cette fichue position? C'est la pigeon, Joseph. Patrice, home on furlough, lapped warm milk with me in the bar. MacMahon. Son of the wild goose, Kevin Egan of Paris, my father's a bird. He lapped the sweet, late shod with pink tongue plump bunny's face, lappin'. He hopes to win in the gross lots. About the nature of women he read in Michelet. But he must send me La Vie de Jesus by M. Leo Taxil, lent it to his friend. C'est tordant, vous savez. Moi, je suis socialiste. Je ne crois pas en l'existence des droits. Faut parler de l'air et mon pays. El croit, mon pays, chalus, he laps. My Latin Quarter hat. God, we simply must dress the character. I want puce gloves. You were a student, weren't you? Of what in the other devil's name? Pansean. P-C-N. You know. Physics. Chimquays et naturels. Aha! Eating your groatsworth of Mauen Civet. Flesh pots of Egypt, elbowed by Belgian cabmen. Just say, in the most natural tone, when I was in Paris, Boule Mich. I used to. Yes, used to carry punched tickets to prove an alibi if they arrested you for murder somewhere. Justice on the night of the 17th of February, 1904. The prisoner was seen by 2 witnesses. Other fellow did it. Other me. Hat, tie, overcoat, nose. C'est moi. You seem to have enjoyed yourself. Proudly walking. Whom were you trying to walk like? Forget a depossessed. With mother's money, order 8 shillings. The banging door of the post office slammed in your face by the usher. Hunger, toothache, encore 2 minutes. Look clock. Must get. Ferme. Hired dog. Shoot him to bloody bits with a bang shotgun. Bits man spattered walls, all brass buttons. Bits all clack in place. Clack back. Not hurt. Oh, that's all right. Shake hands. See what I mean? See what I meant? See? Oh, that's all right. Shake a shake. Oh, that's all only all right. You were going to do wonders. What? Missionary to Europe. After fiery Columbanus. Fiacre. Fiacre and Scotus on their creepy stools in heavy split from their pint pots. Loud Latin laughing. Huge. Pretending to speak broken English as you dragged your valise, porter, 3 pence, across the slimy pier at New Haven. Comment? Rich booty you brought back. Le Tuta, 5 tattered numbers of the Pantalon Blanc at Calotte Rouge, a blue French telegram, courtesy to show. Another dying. Come home, father. The aunt thinks you killed your mother. That's why she won't. Then here's a health to Mulligan's aunt, and I'll tell you the reason why. She always kept things decent in the Hannigan family. His feet marched in sudden proud rhythm over the sand furrows, along by the boulders of the south wall. He stared at them proudly, piled stone mammoth skulls, gold light on sea, on sand, on boulders. The sun is there, the slender trees, the lemon houses. Paris, Raleigh, waking crude sunlight on her lemon streets. Moist pith of farls of bread. The frogreen wormwood, her matin incense, court the air. Belluomo rises from the bed of his wife's lover's wife. The kerchiefed housewife is astir, a saucer of acetic acid in her hand. In Rodot's, Yvonne and Madeline new make their tumbled beauties, shattering with gold teeth, cousins of pastry, their mouths yellowed with the pus of flan breton. Faces of Paris men go by, their well-pleased pleasers, curled conquistadors. Noon slumbers. Kevin Egan rolls gunpowder cigarettes through fingers smeared with printer's ink, sipping his green fairy as Patrice, his white, about us gobblers fork spiced beans down their gullets. Un demi septier. A jet of coffee steam from the burnished cauldron. She serves me at his back. Illest Irlandies, Hollandies, non fromage. Du Irlandies. Nous, Irlandais, vous savez. Ah, oui. She thought you wanted a cheese. Hollandius. Your postprandial. Do you know that word? Postprandial? There was a fellow I knew once in Barcelona. Queer fellow. Used to call it his postprandial. Well, slinte. Around the slab tables the tangle of winged breaths and grumbling gorges. His breath hangs over our sauce-stained plates, the green fairy's fang thrusting between his lips. Of Ireland, the Dalcassians of hopes, conspiracies, of Arthur Griffith, now A.A., Premander, good shepherd of men, to yoke me as his yokefellow, our crimes or common cause. You're our father's son. I know the voice, his fustian shirt. Sanguine-flowered trembles its Spanish tassels at his secrets. M. Drummond, famous journalist, Drummond. Know what he called Queen Victoria? Old hag with the yellow teeth. V.L. O'Gressy with the dense jaunisse. Maud Gorney, beautiful women, the Petri. M. Millavoye, Felix Faure. Know how he died? Licentious men. The Froken Bon at tout faire, who rubs male nakedness in the bath at Uppsala. Moi frère, she said. Tous les messieurs. Not this, monsieur, I said. Most licentious custom. Bath a most private thing. I wouldn't let my brother, not even my own brother, most lascivious thing. Green eyes, I see you. Fang, I feel. Lascivious people. The blue fuse burns deadly between hands and burns clear. Loose tobacco shreds catch fire. A flame, an acrid smoke light our corner. Raw face bones under his peep of dayboy's hat. How the head centre got away, authentic version. Got up as a young bride man, veil, orange blossoms, drove out the road to Malahide. Did faith? Of lost leaders, the betrayed wild escapes. Disguises, clutched at, gone, not here. Spurn lover. I was a strapping young gossoon at that time. I tell you, I'll show you my likeness one day. I was, faith, lover for her love, he prowled with Colonel Richard Burke, Tanist of his sept, under the walls of Clerkenwell, and crouching, saw a flame of vengeance hurl them upward in the fog. Shattered glass and toppling masonry. In gay Paris he hides, Egan of Paris, unsought by any save by me, making his day's stations the dingy printing case, his 3 taverns, the Montmartre lair he sleeps short night in, Rue de la Goutte d'Or, damascened with fly-blown faces of the gone, loveless, landless, wifeless. She is quite nicely comfy without her outcast man, Madame in Rue Get le Car Canary, and 2 buck-lodgers, peachy cheeks, a zebra skirt, frisky as a young thing's, spurned and undespairing. Tell Pat you saw me, won't you? I wanted to get poor Pat a job one time, Monfils, soldier of France. I taught him to sing The Boys of Kilkenny are stout roaring blades. Know that old lay? I thought. Patrice that. Old Kilkenny, St. Canice, Strongbow's Castle on the Nore. Goes like this. Oh, oh, he takes me Napper Tandy by the hand. Oh, oh, the boys of Kilkenny. Weak, wasting hand of mine. They have forgotten Kevin Egan. Not he them, remembering thee, O Sion. He had come nearer the edge of the sea, and wet sand slapped his boots. The new air greeted him, harping in wild nerves, wind of wild air of seeds of brightness. Here, I am not walking out to the Kish lightship, am I? He stood suddenly, his feet beginning to sink slowly in the quaking soil. Turn back. Turning, he scanned the shore south, his feet sinking again slowly in new sockets. The cold, domed room of the tower waits. Through the barbacans, the shafts of light are moving ever slowly, ever as my feet are sinking, creeping, duskwork, over the dial floor. Blue dusk, nightfall, deep blue night. In the darkness of the dome they wait, their pushed-back chairs, my obelisk valise, around a board of abandoned platters. Who to clear it? He has the key. I will not sleep there when this night comes. A shut door of a silent tower, entombing their blind bodies. The Panther Sahib and his pointer. Call. No answer. He lifted his feet up from the suck and turned back by the mole of boulders. Take all, keep all. My soul walks with me, form of forms. So, in the moon's mid-watches, I pace the path above the rocks, in sable, silvered, hearing Elsinore's tempting flood. The flood is following me. I can watch it flow past from here. Get back, then, by the Poolbeg road, to the strand there. He climbed over the sedge and eely oarweeds, and sat on a stool of rock, resting his ash-plant in a gripe. A bloated carcass of a dog lay lolled on bladder-rack. Before him the gunwale of a boat, sunk in sand. Un coque ensemble. Louis Valotte called Gautier's prose. These heavy sands are language tide and wind have silted here. And these, the stone heaps of dead builders, a warren of weasel rats, hide gold there. Try it. You have some. Sands and stones, heavy of the past. Sir Lout's toys. Mind you, don't get one bang on the ear. On the bloody, well, gigant rolls all them bloody well boulders. Bones for my stepping stones. Fee-faw-fum. Sir Lout's toys. Mind you don't get one bang on the ear. I'm the bloody well giant rolls all them bloody well boulders. Bones for my stepping stones. Fee-faw-fum. I smells the bloods, odds and irids, men. A point, live dog, grew into sight running across the sweep of sand. Lord, is he going to attack me? Respect his liberty. You will not be master of others or their slave. I have my stick. Sit tight. From further away, walking shoreward across from the crested tide, figures two. The two Marys. They have tucked it safe 'mong the bulrushes. Peekaboo, I see you. Know the dog? He is running back to them. Who? Galleys of the Lochlanns ran here to beach in quest of prey, their blood-beaked prows riding low on a molten pewter surf. Dane Vikings, torques of tomahawks, a glitter on their breast when Malachi wore the collar of gold, a school of turtle-hide whales stranded in hot noon, spouting, hobbling in the shallows. Then from the starving cage-work city a horde of jerkin dwarfs, my people with flayers, knives, running, scaling, hacking in green blubbery whale meat. Famine, plague, and slaughters. Their blood is in me, their lust my waves. I moved among them on the frozen Liffey, that I, a changeling among the sputtering risen fires, I spoke to no one, none to me. The dog's bark ran towards him, stopped, ran back. Dog of my enemy, I just simply stood pale, silent, bayed about, terribilia, meditans, a primrose doublet, fortune's knave, smiled on my fear. For that are you pining? The bark of their applause? Pretenders. Live their lives. The Bruce's brother, Thomas Fitzgerald, Silken Knight, Perkin Warbeck, York's false Scion, in breeches of silk, of white rose ivory, Wonder of a Day, and Lambert Simnel, with a tale of nans and sutlers, a scullion crowned. All king's sons, paradise of pretenders, then and now. He saved men from drowning, and you shake at a cur's yelping. But the couriers who mocked Guido in Orson Michael were in their own house. House of, we don't want any of your medieval We don't want any of your medieval abstruosities. Would you do what he did? A boat would be near, a lifebuoy, naturally put there for you. Would you or would you not? The man that was drowned 9 days ago off Maiden's Rock. They are waiting for him now. The truth, spit it out. I would want to. I would try. I am not a strong swimmer. Water cold soft. When I put my face into it, in the basin at Clowngows. Can't see. Who's behind me? Out quickly, quickly. Do you see the tide flowing quickly in on all sides, sheeting the lows of sand quickly, shell cocoa-colored? If I had land under my feet, I want his life still to be his, mine to be mine. A drowning man. His human eyes scream to me out of horror of his death. I, with him together down, I could not save her. Waters. Bitter death. Lost. A woman and a man. I see her skirties. Pinned up, I bet. Their dog ambled about a bank of dwindling sand, trotting, sniffing on all sides, looking for something lost in a past life. Suddenly, he made off like a bounding hare, ears flung back, chasing the shadow of a low skimmering gull. The man's shrieked whistle struck his limped ears. He turned, bounded back, came nearer, trotted on twinkling shanks. On a field tenny, a buck, tripant, proper, unattired. At the lace fringe of the tide he halted with stiff forehoofs, seaward pointed ears. His snout lifted, barked at the wave noise, herds of sea morse. They serpented towards his feet, curling, unfurling, many crest, every ninth, breaking, plashing, from farther out, waves and waves. Cockle pickers. They waded in little way in the water, and stooping, soused their bags, and lifting them again, waded out. The dog yelped, running to them, reared up and pawed them, dropping on all fours again, reared up at them with mute bearish fawning. Unheeded he kept by them as they came towards the drier sand. A rag of wolf's tongue, repenting from his jaws, his speckled body ambled ahead of them, and then lopped off at a calf's gallop. The carcass lay on his path. He stopped, sniffed, stalked round it. Brother, nosing closer, went round it, sniffing rapidly like a dog all over the dead dog's bedraggled fell. Dog skull, dog sniff, eyes on the ground, moves to one great goal. Ah, poor dog's body. Here lies poor dog's body. Body. Tatters. Out of that, you mongrel. The cry brought him skulking back to his master, and a blunt, bootless kick sent him unscathed across a spit of sand. Crouched in flight, he slunk back in a curve. Doesn't see me. Along by the edge of the mole he lolloped, dawdled, smelt the rock, and from under a cuckold hind leg pissed against it. He trotted towards, and lifting again his hind leg, pissed quick short at an unsmelt rock. The simple pleasures of the poor. His hind paws then scattered the sand, then his forepaws dabbled and delved. Something he buried there, his grandmother. He rooted in the sand, dabbling, delving, and stopped to listen to the air, scraped up the sand again with a fury of his claws, soon ceasing, appeared a panther, got in, spouse breech, vulturing the dead. After he woke me last night, same dream, or was it? Wait. Open hallway. Street of harlots. Remember. Haroun al-Rashid. I am almosting it. The man led me, spoke. I was not afraid. The melon he held against my face. Smiled. Cream fruit smell. That was the rule. Said. In come. Red carpet spread. You will see who. Shouldering their bags, they trudged the red Egyptians. His blued fleet, out of turned-up trousers, slapped the clammy sand, a dull brick muffler strangling his unshaven neck. With women's steps he followed, the ruffian and his strolling mort. Spoils slung at her back, loose sand and shell grit crusted her bare feet. About her winddraw face her hair trailed. Beyond her lord, his helpmate, Bing Awast to Romeville. When night hides her body's flaws, calling under her brown shawl from an archie. When night hides her body flaws, calling under her brown shawl from an archway where dogs have mired. Her fancy man is treating two royal Dublins in O'Loughlin's of Blackpits. Busser, whop in rogues, rumlingo for oh my dimber whapping dell. A cheffin's whiteness under her rancid rags. Fumbly's lane that night, the tan-yard smells. White thy fambles, red thy gan, and thy quarrons dainty is, couched a hogshead with me then, in the darkman's clip and kiss. Morose delectation, Aquinas Tunbelly calls this, frat porcuspino, unfallen Adam, rode and not rutted. Call away, let him, thy quarrons dainty, is language no whit worse than his. Monk words, merry beads jabber on their girdless rogue words. Tough nuggets patter in their pockets. Passing now. A side-eye at my Hamlet hat. If I were suddenly naked here as I sit, I am not. Across the sands of all the world, followed by the sun's flaming sword, to the west, trekking to evening lands, she trudges, schleps trains, drags, transcends her load. A tide, westering, moon-drawn, in her wake, tides, myriad eyes landed. Within her, blood, not mine, oinopa ponton, a wine-dark sea. Behold the handmaid of the moon. In sleep the wet sign calls her hour, bids her rise. Bride-bed, child-bed, bed of death, ghost-candled. Omnes caro antiveniae. He comes pale vampire, through storm his eyes, his bat sails, bloodying the sea mouth, to her mouth's kiss. Here, put a pin in that chap, will ye? My tablets, mouth to her kiss, no, must be two of 'em. Glue 'em well, mouth to her mouth's kiss. His lips lipped and mouthed fleshless lips of air, mouth to her all wombing tomb. His mouth molded, issuing breath, unspeeched, oh-yah! Roar of cataractic planets, globed, blazing, roaring, way, way, away, 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 away. Paper. The blank notes, blast them. Old Deasy's letter. Here, thanking you for the hospitality, tear the blank end off. Turning his back to the sun, he bent over far to the table of rock and scribbled words. That's twice I forgot to take slips from the library counter. His shadow lay over the rocks as he bent, ending, why not endless to the farthest star? Darkly they are there behind this light, darkness shining in the brightness delta of Cassiopeia worlds. Me sits there with his augur's rod of ash in burrowed sandals by day beside a livid sea unbeheld in violent night, walking beneath a rain of uncouth stars. I throw this ended shadow from me. Man-shape, ineluctable, call it back, endless. Would it be mine, form of my form? Who watches me here? Whoever, anywhere, will read these written words. Signs on a white field, somewhere to someone in your flutiest voice. The good bishop of Cloyne took the veil of the temple out of his shovel hat, veil of space with colored emblems hatched on its field. Hold hard, colored on a flat. Yes, that's right. Flat, I see. Then think distance. Near, far, flat, I see. East, back. Ah, see now. Falls back suddenly, frozen in stereoscope. Click does the trick. You find my words dark. Darkness is in our souls, do you not think? Flutier, our souls, shame wounded by our sins, cling to us yet more, a woman to her lover clinging, the more, and no. Our souls, shame wounded by our sins, cling to us yet more, a woman to her lover clinging, the more, the more. She trusts me, her hand gentle, the long-lashed eyes. Now, where the blue hell am I bringing her beyond the veil, into the ineluctable modality of the ineluctable visuality? She. What she? The Virgin at Hodges Fliggis window on Monday, looking in for one of the alphabet books you were going to write? Keen glance you gave her, wrist through the braided jessie of her sunshade. She lives in Leeson Park, with a grief, and kickshaws a lady of letters. Talk that to someone else, Stevie. A pick-me-up. Bet she wears those curse of God stays, suspenders, and yellow stockings, darned with lumpy wool. Talk about ample dumplings. Piuttosto. Where are your wits? Touch me. Soft eyes. Soft hand. I am lonely here. Oh, touch me soon. Now. What is that word known to all men? I am quiet here, alone, sad too. Touch me. He lay back at full stretch over the sharp rocks, cramming the scribbled note and pencil into a pocket, his hat tilted down on his eyes. That is Kevin Egan's movement I made, nodding for his nap, Sabbath sleep. Et vidit Deus, et errant valde bona. Hello. Bonjour. Welcome as the flowers in May. Under its leaf he watched through peacock-twittering lashes the southing sun. I am caught in this burning scene, Pan's hour, the faunal noon, among gum-heavy serpent plants, milk-oozing fruits, where on the tawny waters leaves lie wide. Pain is far, and no more turn aside and brood. His gaze brooded on his broad-toed boots, a buck's cast-offs. Neben Neander. He counted the creases of rucked leather wherein another's foot had nested warm. The foot that beat the ground in tripodium, foot I dissolve. But you were delighted when Esther Oswald's shoe went on you, girl I knew in Paris, tiens quel petit paid. Staunch friend, a brother's soul, wild's love that dare not speak its name. His arm, Cranley's arm, he now will leave me, and the blame. As I am, all or not at all. In long lassos, from the Cock Lake, the water flowed full, covering green goldenly lagoons of sand rising, flowing. My ash plant will float away. I shall wait. No, they will pass on, passing, chafing against the low rocks, swirling, passing. Better get this job over quick. Listen, a four-worded wave speech. Sisu, haras, recessus. Vehement breath of waters amid sea snakes, rearing horses, rocks. In cups of rocks, it slops, flop, slop, slap, bounded in barrels. And spent, its speech ceases. It flows, purling, wildly flowing, floating, foam pool, flower unfurling. Under the upswelling tide, he saw the writhing weeds lift languidly and sway reluctant arms, hissing up their petticoats in whispering water, swaying and upturning coy silver fronds. Day by day, night by night, lifted, flooded, and let fall. Lord, they are weary, and whispered to, they sigh. St. Ambrose heard it, sigh of leaves and waves waiting, awaiting the fullness of their times. Dibus ac noctibus, iniorius, patiens ingemiscent. To no end gathered, vainly then released, forth-flowing, wending back, loom of the moon, wary too in sight of lovers, lascivious men, a naked woman, shining in her courts, she draws a toil of waters. 5 fathoms out there, full fathom 5 thy father lies. At one, he said, found drowned, high water at Dublin Bar, driving before it a loose drift of rubble, fan-shoals of fishes, silly shells. A corpse rising salt white from the undertow, bobbing a pace, a purpose landward. There he is. Hook it quick. Pull. Sunk, though he be beneath the watery floor. We have him. Easy now. Bag of corpsigus, sopping in foul brine. A quiver of minnows, fat of a spongy tidbit, flash through the slits of his button trouser fly. God becomes man, becomes fish, becomes barnacle, goose becomes featherbed, mountain. Dead breaths I living breathe, tread dead dust, devour a Uranus offal from all dead. Hauled stark over the gunwale, he breathes upward the stench of his green grave, his leprous nose-hole snoring to the sun. A sea change this, brown eyes, salt blue. Sea death, mildest of all deaths known to man. Old Father Ocean, prix de Paris. Beware of imitations. Just you give it a fair trial. We enjoyed ourselves immensely. Come, I thirst. Clouding over. No black clouds anywhere, are there? Thunderstorm. All bright he falls. Proud lightning of the intellect. Lucifer dicto que nascit occasion. No, my cockle hat and staff and hisme sandal shoon. Where? To evening lands. Evening will find itself. He took the hilt of his asphalt, lunging with it softly, dallying still. Yes, evening will find itself in me, without me. All days make their end. By the way, next when it is Tuesday will be the longest day of all the glad new year. Mother the rum-tum tiddly-turn. Lon Tennyson, gentleman poet. Gaia, for the old hag with the yellow teeth. And Monsieur Dramont, gentleman journalist. Gaia, my teeth are very bad. Why, I wonder? Feel that one is going too. Shells. Ought I go to a dentist? I wonder with that money. That one. This. Toothless Kinch. The Superman. Why is that, I wonder, or does it mean something, perhaps? By handkerchief. He threw it. I remember. Did I not take it up? His hand groped vainly in his pockets. No, I didn't. Better buy one. He laid the dry snot, picked from his nostril, on a ledge of rock. carefully. For the rest, let look who will. Behind, perhaps there is someone. He turned his face over a shoulder, rear regardant, moving through the air high spars of a three-master, her sails brailed up on the cross-trees, homing upstream, silently moving, a silent ship.